Hey everybody, welcome back to Little Boy Customs, and if you're new here, thanks for joining me. Today we're going to be talking about how to get the Grand Marquis or Crown Vic Dash out of the car. Hey guys, in the last episodes, if you caught those, you know that I caught this truck on fire. In the process of doing that, I actually burnt part of the wiring harness. Grand Marquis and Crown Vics, they all have three parts to their wiring harness. They have what is underneath the dash, what's in the engine compartment, and then what runs the length of the car going back towards the back, whether it be for the doors or the gas tank or what have you. Either way, I caught mine on fire, and so I had to take the dash out in order to rewire parts of it. And plus, I wanted to thin the wiring harness anyway, because this truck's not going to be a four-door and not have power windows, locks, or any of that kind of stuff, and I don't want all that to drain the battery. So I took the dash out. Today, I'm going to show you how, and it's not that difficult if you go in the right order. All right, so as you can see, I've already gotten the dash out. There is one thing that I want to stress before you actually start taking the dash out. When you start taking all the components out, you want to make sure to label what all these different wires go to. Okay, guys, first thing that you're going to want to do is to take this trim piece off. It pops off. There's nothing really attaching it other than the little clips, and then the wires going into the different buttons if you have those. Both of those were options on this car. The other side is the exact same way. This piece here pops off. Use a screwdriver and it will pop off. It does have some wiring on the back side for the clock. Make sure you take that off. Once you get those two trim pieces off, this is the next piece that you're going to want to take off. There's going to be a series of bolts along the bottom that you're going to want to take out. And then also those two right there at the top. After that, you're going to want to use a screwdriver in order to pop it out. And then, of course, you're going to want to disconnect everything that is attached electronically. Okay, after you remove this piece here, I removed mine with the radio installed in it. I didn't take the radio out separately. I was able to get it all out. It's fairly simple. The next thing you'll want to do is remove this AC controller. You don't really want to damage this because these are pretty expensive to replace if you go to the dealership. If you go to the wrecking yard, there could be a couple of things wrong with them. They're pretty easy to fix though. One of them being the O-rings in the back tend to go out on these pretty regularly. You can go to Napa, AutoZone, whatever your favorite parts store is, and get new O-rings for it. But in order to take it out, you want to take off those two screws right there, two more on the other side. Then you'll have the two wires connections in the back, and then you'll have this part here, which is two nuts. I believe it was like an 8mm. They're just hand tightened on pretty much. Unscrew those, and then a series of hoses, which looks like this right here, comes out the back. This is all vacuum driven, so you don't want to damage these if you're wanting to keep AC and heat. Alright, I apologize for the lighting, but the next thing you're going to want to take out is the instrument cluster. You're going to have 4 bolts, 2 on either side, and then pull that out and disconnect the wires on the back side of it. From there, you're going to actually want to start working on the steering wheel before you actually start unbolting this main component. I didn't do that. I messed up, and then I had to hold this dash, which is not light. It's actually an extremely heavy dash, up while I was trying to disconnect everything from the steering wheel. So we're actually looking down on the steering wheel now, but from the other side, if I can get a picture of it, you're going to undo the bolts. 1, 2, and then the same on the other side. That will drop it down. Before you do that though, there is this wiring right here, you want to disconnect all of those because that wiring runs back up into the dash harness. Okay guys, the other part that you're going to want to do is remove this cover from around the steering wheel. In order to do that, there is going to be 4 Phillips head screws, 3 in the bottom, and then on one in the corner right there. That will drop that out of the way. The reason why you're doing this is if you have the same style steering wheel like I do that has all these controls, or this particular blinker and windshield wiper setup, there is this sets right here. There is connectors, 2 of them, that run into the back of it. That cover covers up all of that, and that wiring goes to the dash wiring. So in order to remove the dash, you have to remove this wiring. There's 2 torque head screws, one at the top, one at the bottom. Unscrew both of those and then pull this out and disconnect the 2 wiring assemblies going into this. You can't just disconnect that because there's not enough clearance right here in order for the wiring to pull away from its housing. While you're under here taking these right here off, there is going to be 2 vacuum hoses, one on either side, that you'll need to unplug. One on this side, on the passenger side of the steering wheel, and one on the driver's side of the steering wheel. Undo both of those. On the driver's side, if you'll see that hole right there, there's a rubber boot that's right there. You want to pop that rubber boot. You're going to feed all that wiring that is right there back inside of the car. The wiring goes to a couple of different things, one of them being the windshield wiper assembly that is right there somewhere. It's out on this car. Then you're going to have wiring. You'll see 1, 2, 3, I believe it was 3, 4 different wires going from that boot to different components. Most of them are right here in this corner. 3 of them are, and then the 4th one, which was the windshield wiper. Disconnect all of those and push that wiring back through that hole. It's going to stay with the dash. Okay, on the passenger side, right below this blower motor, you'll have another rubber grommet that you'll need to punch out. All the wiring that is coming through that is coming from the dash wiring harness, and it controls all of your heat and AC. 3 of those wires are going to come right here. One of them's to the blower. The other 2 are right above the blower. Then you'll have another wire coming over here to this. I don't know what it's called. I'm not an AC heat guy. I just know it goes there. The last one is this box here. If you follow it, right down in there, right here, is where the other wiring hooks up to. Unhook it, and all of that needs to be pushed back through the firewall. On the passenger side, right next to this hole, right there, there is going to be a white hose that connects right there. Just pull it off, it comes right off. Right here is another component that you'll need. It has a bolt that screws in. You'll need to unbolt that, and then it comes right off. There's going to be some, there's Thomas. There's going to be some grounds that are connected right here that you'll need to undo. All right, on the driver's side, there is going to be
3 different types of plugs right here. Mine was connected to this white piece here. 1, 2, 3. All those need to be unplugged because that will be connected to the wiring harness as well. Once you do that, you'll have a huge nut right there. Inside the dash, you'll see it through the AC vent, and I'll show you on the dash here in just a second. You'll have this one here.
So as I was saying, that bolt, you look through where the AC vent is going to be at and move the wiring just a little bit, and it comes through right there. There's a nut right there. Just unscrew that nut. Along the very top, there is a cover there. Pop it off with a screwdriver. If you haven't already done that, there is, I think there was like 3 small screws that went in across the top. I have 5 across here, so it could have been 5, but I believe it was only 3. You want to undo all of those.
And finally, on the passenger side, this little nut right there, you'll want to take it off, and then you're ready to remove the dash.
After all that, your dash should come out, and this is what your dash should look like underneath, for the most part, minus the little fire I had right there. This right here is the wiring harness that I want to thin out. This is the one that is not part of the dash, but under the dash, and it controls all of the wiring for the power windows, power locks, all that stuff, the rear doors, front doors, even the door ajar, whatever that thing's called, in order to turn the lights on and all that stuff. So I'm going to thin this wiring harness out, and then whatever goes to the dash or wherever it goes to from there, and try to unpin as much of it as I can. That way my battery won't be ran down all the time because it thinks that the rear doors are always ajar. Alright, that's all I got for you today, guys. Thanks for watching. Please stay tuned. The next episode should be cutting down the wiring harness and removing the wires that we don't need. If you haven't subscribed, please consider it. We're trying to get our first 1,000 subscribers. Also turn on the bell notification, and if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Thanks for watching.